with this lesson, we are going to look at creating reports and labels by category code and generating contact records that we can use for mass marketing as well. So very simply, it starts off here. You may recall in an earlier lesson we only have 2 prospects, but the key here is that we coded our prospects. So we have a DEF Company Limited, we coded them as such, and we also coded an ABC Company Limited. We actually coded them both identical, but I'm sure that you can see how this would function. So to create this categorical report, we go down to our reports section and expand that, and we go to category reports. So under category reports, we can either do mailing labels or lists. And under both of these, you can design, for example, what the mailing labels look like or what the lists look like. I'm going to maybe do it with the mailing labels so you can get an idea here. So let's say you want to send a catalog out to all of your prospects in a certain demographic. So what we would do is we pick mailing labels, and you can pick contacts to use. So you would either use multiple of things. You could either use all of the contacts that you have for the prospects. So you may recall our ABC company, we had 2 contact names. Our DEF, we only had 1. So you could use the first active one that it comes to, or you could send it to all the primary or no contacts, so on and so forth. So you can kind of get an idea how you might use this. So that would be one way. Maybe we'll just do it as a list. Well, no, we'll do it this way. So let's say we want to send this mailing out to all of our active contact names. So we can identify a range of company names. So in our case, we could pick individual ones, or as it shows here, it'll show all of them. Also in a particular city, we could do province or state selection, and postal or zip code from and to as well. So the way it's set now, we'll basically pick everybody in these categories, and we pick a label template. So our label templates, I'm going to pick our Avery 5160, which is a very popular label. As well, you can design your own labels. We won't be doing that in this tutorial, however. So in this next selection, we have 2 boxes over here, and in this top box, the categories are either they must have all of the categories that you pick in here or any of them. So for example, if we pick this, then they must have they must be English and be in Ontario and be a VG prospect. So in this case, they must have all 3 of those categories to qualify for this mailing. If I was to pick have any, then it wouldn't really matter. As long as they had any one of these 3 categories, they would qualify. So I'm gonna pick this one, that they must have all of them. So they're going to require to be flagged as English, in Ontario, and be a VG prospect here. And then down in this part, we can exclude them out. So for example, we can exclude them if they are flagged as being government down here. Okay. So this is the way, it's basically a filtering system for all of the prospect records that you have in your database. And then what we would do is if you want to create marketing campaigns around it, you would basically elect to create a contact record, and then you would identify which campaign that's attached to. So this might be a VG Direct campaign, and when I want to follow that date up. Now, if you don't want to do any follow-up at all, you just blank that date out, and that's fine. And if you do put it in, it can become cumbersome, because if you create a direct mailing for 4,000 prospects, they will all appear on your dayboard if you have a follow-up date. If you leave the follow-up date blank, it will still create the record but not populate your dayboard with it. Usually that's the way we do it in our system, but you could do it any way you like. In here, this would be who's contacting it, and so in here, this is what I might do. And I basically made my selections, and I go ahead and print this. it's warning me that I forgot to put a follow-up date here, or not forgot, I took it out, so it's just warning me. So it's saying if you don't do this, you won't be flagged to follow up that contact, and that's fine. So I want to say yes, I'm sure. And then next it's going to pop up with this screen. Normally we would just send this out to printer, but because I'm showing you on the screen, I'm going to take you to preview. One of the neat things here is we're doing labels, and in our software, if your labels are designed for laser printers, you can identify which label to start at so you're not wasting any labels. So let's say, for example, I want the first 7 labels are printed off that page, and I'm starting here. And so now if I go ahead and start that, you see that it's going to print me 3 labels. One for Jim Brown, one for Sally Jones, and one here for Kelly Smith, which are 2 for ABC Company Limited and 1 for DEF, which is exactly what I wanted. And now it's basically done that. If you were now to go back to the prospect and look into their contact history, and we'll call each one up. So here's the ABC Company Limited. Under the open contacts, I only have the 1, but under the all, you see the 2 that are actually closed. This one and this one are for the 2 contact names that we sent them price catalogs, but I didn't want to follow them up. That's why they are not in my open contacts. And for the DEF Company Limited, same thing. I've got this contact here is closed, and this one is also closed successfully. So I don't have any open, but I have 2 historical contacts that I made, and I can see the detail to the right of that. Okay, well, that concludes the lesson on creating categorical mailing labels. If I was to do a list as opposed to that, it's basically the same. I would pick all contacts, and once again, you pick how you want to contact them here. So I'll just pick the same deal that I had there. And if I want to create a contact or not, in this case, I'm not going to create another one. And the lists, instead of being mailing labels, will just come out as a list. And you can design what those lists look like. We won't be going into that today, but it is an advanced topic, and just be aware that you can do that. Anyway, that concludes the lessons about creating categorical lists, labels, and conversation contact records.